Guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's Football Show, sponsored by Arnold Clark. It is Friday, and we are looking forward. Nice of you to join us, Tam. That's always good. It is Friday. It's not the only thing that's gone off, to be perfectly honest with you. Great to have you on the programme. It should have been smooth as an intro, but with Tam, you never know what can happen. Great to have Roughie alongside me, Tam McManus and Charlie Adam here at the ready. It's hard to believe. After all that international hoo-ha, we're back to domestic issues, and certainly looking forward to it. We'll be discussing the weekend's Premiership fixtures. We'll also discuss Dave Cormack's call for the government to give them a plan, give them a time scale for fans to get back into stadiums up and down the country. And if they don't, there could be, financial Armageddon. Give us your thoughts on that as well. You can like, share, and follow our page on Facebook, and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And we've got an angry Neil Lennon. He's not happy with, of course, Scotland manager Steve Clarke for playing Ryan Christie in all three of those Nations League group games.
Yeah, well, he didn't rest Ryan, so that didn't please me, but they look okay. There might be a little bit of a kick-in effect, maybe later on down the line, but I think certainly for tomorrow, they're fit and available to play.
It's a big call, isn't it, nowadays, Roughie? The pull between the need to get your strongest team to try and lift the whole nation and get to a major tournament, and obviously club managers saying, "Wait a minute, he's played 3 games, he's exhausted."
Yeah, it seems to be the way just now. Some of the managers not happy. I think it was Warburton down there wasn't happy if Dykes was going to play the 3 games. But for me, I would like to think that the players are fitter than what they used to be to handle the 3 games. Yeah, they're going to be a wee bit tired. That's to be expected. But these were 3 big important games that you have to think from the Scotland manager's point of view. His job's on the line as well, so he's got to pick the best teams available, and he's one of them. You have to have him in your team. But I can see where Neil Lennon's coming from, because he's got important games as well. So it's a happy in between, and that's why you see a lot of the national team managers now phoning the club managers and trying to get some kind of relationship between them. And try and get them to understand, that they've got a job to do as well.
Well, there's 2 elements to this, Charlie Adam. Quite simply, players are now desperate to play for Scotland because they know there's a major tournament on the horizon. Secondary to that, there's always going to be this club versus country battle, but sometimes I think managers look to get excuses in early.
Yeah, listen, if you look at majority of our players have played all the games, It is obviously tough for the club managers because they don't want their players playing every game. But it's the biggest game for Scotland in 20 odd years to try and get to a major tournament. And I understand that he's going to be frustrated with that. But they just have to pick and choose when if there's an opportunity to take him off in games and things like that. He was always going to play because he's one of our best players. So I know Neil's obviously frustrated. I think a lot of other managers will be frustrated as well. But you just got to get on with it. You should be proud that your players are getting chosen to play for the country, and obviously it will take its toll. But then that comes down to good man management when he comes back to Celtic and how he trains and opportunities when they can take him off if they are winning 2 and 3-0 to take him off, and I think he will do that.
Yeah, Tam, let's be honest about it. You 3 former players, you're always moaning when you were playing about playing too many games, looking for excuses, oh, you're tired. Players love playing non-stop, don't they?
Yeah, listen, I don't agree with Neil Lennon. I don't agree with him, Peter. If Neil Lennon was the manager of Scotland or Northern Ireland and he had these 3 massive games, he would play his best players and he would play them 90 minutes because it was games we needed to win. It wasn't a case of friendly games or games that were a dead rubber and we can take people off. They were massive games, 3 huge games. So I don't agree with Neil. Listen, I get where he's coming from. Maybe his players are coming back tired, but he would do the exact same if he was a manager of a national team. He would play his best players and he would play them as long as possible. So players want to play. I understand Ryan Christie might be a bit tired, but He's one of the fittest players in Celtic's team. I think he can handle playing 3 games no problem, and he'll maybe get a little bit of a rest today, and he'll be ready to go tomorrow against Hibs. So as long as he's fit and he's not picked up an injury, I don't see the problem.
Yeah, and of course you just mentioned there Easter Road, Hibs against Celtic, certainly game of the day tomorrow, and of course the top 4 all in action, and Lennon himself looking forward to this one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but not really giving that much thought. No, the focus has been on this week. The players coming back, and keeping the players that we hear bubbling along. So it's been a long 2 weeks, from a club perspective. But now we're really looking forward to the depth of games that we can get into.
Yeah, I think this period coming up is a real test. It's not a defining weekend, Tam, or anything like that, because as we know from last season's evidence, crazy things can happen once you head into a new year.
Peter, I think it is. I think it's a huge weekend for both clubs. I look at Celtic at the minute. For me, Celtic cannot afford to drop any points before they play Rangers on January the 2nd. They can't. They need to win every game, and they need to avoid defeat at Ibrox if they've got any aspirations of winning the league. Because the way Rangers are playing at the minute, and I know they will hit a blip inevitably at some point, but I would fancy Rangers to beat Aberdeen on Sunday. So I feel the pressure's really on Celtic to beat Hibs on Saturday, and Hibs have had a really, really good record against Celtic at Easter Road in the league. I think the last 5 league games Celtic have not won at Easter Road. So Hibs will get into that and take a bit of confidence from that. Take a bit of confidence from the way they played against Rangers. They went right at Rangers. They scored 2 goals against a miserly defence. So Hibs will get into it with confidence, and it's a game that Celtic has to win. All the pressure, I feel, is on Celtic tomorrow. They have to win every game, and Hibs can treat it. Listen, as not a free hit, but as a game you can relax and go and enjoy and go and try and get something out of the game.
The great thing about it, Charlie, is I think Tam mentioned a couple of weeks ago in one of the columns he writes for us that clubs and teams are smelling blood at the moment when they come up against Celtic.
They do. Listen, Celtic have not played well this season. They've not played to the levels that they have in previous campaigns, but that will come. There'll be a period in the season where Celtic are flying and they go and win 6-7 on the bounce. That will happen because they've got good players. It's at the moment where Hibs are at home. Can they go and put the pressure on Celtic? Shane Duffy's having a tough time, and the other defence is, they're conceding goals, which is not great. But Celtic will still be confident going to Easter Road, knowing that they can get an opportunity to win that game. If you look at both teams, who's got the better players? Celtic, but Celtic have to have an off day, and Hibs have to be right on their mettle to get anything from the game. But I just think that Celtic will win the game, and that might be a stepping stone. But I also believe that Rangers are in great form, and it's going to be tough to peg them back at the moment. But it'll definitely be a challenge for Celtic.
I always like the stats, Roughie. They sometimes thrown up just to either boost a player or a team's confidence or a manager's confidence. Hibs have only lost 1 of the last games of 8 games against Celtic at Easter Road, which is good going. You can tell that the way they've been playing over the last couple of years, that they like having a go at Celtic and Rangers. They feel confident in themselves now, and they've got players that can do the damage.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I said at the beginning of the season, I didn't think there were many teams in the league that could take on Rangers and Celtic. But Hibs and Aberdeen are 2 of them who can, and they've proved that they can. Obviously, Rangers have got the home advantage, which will be obviously in their favour. Aberdeen are on a reasonable run as well. So I think both of them will use the results of this game to their own advantage, depending on what the results are. But I agree with Tam. I think if Celtic were to lose and Rangers were to win, I think the Rangers supporters will be really saying this is another mark of the season, and you couldn't debate that. So for me, it's up to Celtic to prove that they can go there and win that game.
Yeah, Ian Noble says Celtic still strong but need to recruit in midfield. Ian, I think midfield is probably the last place they need to recruit at the moment. I think they're desperately crying out for Julian and Ayer to be back together, and reinforcements over and above that. We'll not mention the Shane Duffy factor because it's one of those ones that goes on ad nauseum.
I wonder if he'll play, Peter.
For him. Well, listen.
I wonder if he'll bring him back in because obviously against Motherwell he was rested.
I think Ayer.
Interesting to see.
I think Ayer's available. Julian's maybe a couple of weeks away, Tam. He's doing some light training at the moment. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they left him out, but I think he will play. I think he'll throw him in there. It's an interesting dilemma, but it's going to be good tomorrow to see exactly what team he picks. As far as you're talking about Hibs there, Roughie, Jack Ross says it's all about belief.
I'm very respectful of Neil and his group because they are serial winners from what they've achieved in recent years. So we know we need to play well, but we had belief going into the match against Rangers at Easter Road that we could win the game. And although we fell short in that, we performed well in it and took something from it. And it's the same mentality we go into tomorrow's game with. Yeah,
and the other thing, Roughie, here's a comment for you. Jack Ross is in contract talks with Joe Newell, which I get because he's been, for me, a player I love watching this season, Roughie. But the other one is Ophir Marciano, for those saves that you were discounting. He's produced a few of them.
I knew
he's
getting a clean sheet.
He's getting a good contract, Roughie.
Yeah, they had a couple of outstanding saves the other night. He had one that he actually was very fortunate to get away with. I don't know what he tried to do with it. It was right at his body and he just palmed it back out into the penalty area. Unfortunately, there was no Scottish guys there, but no, he had a good game. And there isn't any other goalkeepers going about just now, so I think he's earned, another contract, and it remains to be seen if he continue to do it for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. There you are. There's Roughie's little seed of doubt there.
He's turning. Come on, Roughie.
Absolutely, he's spewing, by the way. That just as he.
It was a fantastic. No, the save for the header, the save for Lee Griffiths' free kick was top notch.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's not.
Listen,
I would have caught it, but it's Marciano.
Anyway, with that in mind, and I know we all like our predictions on this, I'm going to go Hibs 1, Celtic 2. Tam.
Wait a minute, I write that down.
Well, what have you got written down anyway?
I'm going to go Hibs 2, Celtic 2. I think Hibs can get a point from the game if they go in with the same belief they had against Rangers in the same performance. Then I think they can go and get a point. I'm going to go for 2 each.
Yeah, hold on a second. Hello, Leanne. Could you just make sure the check is through? Is that okay? Yep. Yeah, he's predicted a draw. Charlie.
Yeah, you're not getting in anymore.
I know Hibs are playing well. They're a good side, middle to front. I just think Celtic will just have enough on the day, and I'll go for a 1-0.
1-0, Roughie.
I wasn't impressed with Hibs up at Aberdeen. Again, I thought their defence is a bit frail at times. I still think Celtic are the better side, so I'm going to go Celtic 2-0.
2-0, okay. And Lindsay Storia, and I might as well mention a few people who have predictions. Lindsay says Hibs 2, Celtic 0. Andrew Robertson says Hibs 4, Celtic 0. So you're getting all sorts of different permutations on this one. As far as Rangers are concerned, they've got a fantastic game on the Sunday at home to Aberdeen. This is a biggie, but first and foremost, Steven Gerrard was asked today about George Edmondson and Jordan Jones, who picked up that 7-game ban from the SFA. Here's his take on it.
I seen 2 players. I spoke to them individually. They were both very sad over the incident. They were remorseful and apologetic. They full of regret. They first and foremost wanted to apologise to the supporters and the teammates for their actions. But in my position, it was time to support these 2 players. Once I seen that reaction, it was the reaction I wanted to see.
So he's backing them, and I think, barring utter madness right now, I think, Charlie, Steven Gerrard needs all hands on deck all the way to May.
He does. He needs every player available. I like how he's, we could all presume, and on the outside, we don't really know what the conversations are, what's going on. He's obviously going to back his players for what they've done after they've apologised, and the lads will be in training until they're available to play. But when it comes down to it, the window is only 6 to 8 weeks away. But if they are needed, he'll use them because he understands that they can make a difference to Rangers. But I think if there is opportunities to move them on, that he will. But he has to try and give them a bit of support at the moment, because listen, it is a tough time. They made a mistake, and you learn from your mistakes. And a top manager like he is, supports his players, and he will do that.
Yeah, 7 games from the SFA, Tam. Were you surprised? Was that the right type of punishment, the right message?
Yeah, I think it was. I think Rangers accepted it as well. Seen their statement that they accepted the disciplinary proceedings, and listen, they got on with it. You can't crucify them. They're young players, young people. They've made a mistake, and they've paid for it. Jordan Jones in particular, he missed a massive game for his country the other night. A playoff game. So listen, they've paid a heavy price for what they've done, and they've apologised, as Steven Gerrard said, and I think they'll get a second chance at Rangers. And we'll see how we go. I wouldn't be banning them, because it could happen to somebody else, and it could happen to Vernier or Morelos. So it's fortunate from Rangers' point of view, that it's happened to 2 French players, but it could happen to anyone in any squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Rangers' form, Roughie, has been impressive. 12 wins and 2 draws in the last 14. I don't think they wanted the international break. They were on a roll.
Yeah, they certainly will. And like Neil Lennon, he'll be glad when he gets his players back, to see what kind of state they're in as well. It's the clean sheets for me that's the impressive one. Yeah, they're winning the games because of that. But when you get into that kind of run, your defence, your goalkeeper, your back four don't think you're going to lose goals. So it's going to be a tough one for Aberdeen to get something out of this game. And I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a runaway for Rangers. I think Aberdeen will make it difficult for them.
Yeah, okay. Well, there's a lovely little... this is what we get, Charlie. You're not aware of this. This is what Roughie does. Is a nice little cuddle so he can keep in with people from Aberdeen. And then when we actually have to waste 5 minutes of the programme dragging it out of him, he comes out with a scoreline like Rangers 4, Aberdeen 0. Yeah. So even Tam's reading my mind on this. It's unbelievable. Anyway, apart from anything else, Steven Gerrard says that they've got to really hit the ground running in this one.
The important thing for me is to get them back in the Rangers place, to focus back on Rangers, try and get them away from international duty and get the focus on what's going to face us in the coming days. All the focus and attention needs to be on Aberdeen. It's a big game. I think they deserve that attention because they're a good team and they will pose a difficult challenge to us.
Yeah, listen, Aberdeen, 3rd spot, unbeaten in the last 5 games. 3 or 4 players that I think are game winners. I'm not sure they've got enough of the quality to go to Ibrox and put the fear of God into Rangers. I think Rangers are going to win this one 2-0, Tam.
Yeah, I agree. I just think Rangers are in such good form at the minute. They're pressing teams at home, getting after them, scoring a lot of goals, keeping clean sheets. So I would agree. I think Rangers will win the game. I'm going to go for Rangers 3, Aberdeen 1.
Yeah, Charlie?
Yeah, I think Rangers will be confident in what they're doing. And I like that Steven Gerrard said about refocusing the lads on about Rangers. And when I was there with Walter Smith, it was the same situation when you go with a national team or your own national country. It was like, that's gone now, refocus, we're about Rangers and we have to worry about ourselves. Listen, Aberdeen are a totally different team that the Rangers faced the first day of the season. But I still believe that Rangers will win this game 3-0.
Yeah, 3-0 from Charlie. Roughie, just to cloud your view on this one, I'll give you a bit of additional information if it helps you. McGinn, Watkins, Hayes and McGeoch all out injured, and Ross McCrory cannot play against his parent club because of the loan deal agreement.
Oh, I still think Rangers will win the game, but I just think with Cosgrove back, aerial power, free kicks, corners, that kind of thing, I think Aberdeen will get a goal, but I still think Rangers will win 2-1.
2-1 is what you're going for. Derek McInnes says this Aberdeen side have to turn up. Got to be better than the last time they faced them.
Have to play a lot better than we did in the first game of the season. I think we all accept that. I think my best players on the day were defenders that day, but in possession of the ball, we didn't do anything near enough. We didn't show enough aggression. We didn't show enough personality in the game. And if we can take the confidence from previous games there, when everybody takes responsibility, brings a high level of performance, gets a balance right between attacking and defending, we know we're capable of getting a result.
Okay, that's Derek McInnes' take on it. Rather worryingly, though, Charlie, and this is something we've been talking about, and I've been raising the issue over the last few weeks. A lot of clubs releasing their financial results. Undoubtedly, they're going to show losses because of the COVID pandemic. But I think, the extent of it is going to become abundantly clear unless help is on the horizon, or at least fans getting in, because Aberdeen announced just under 3 million in losses, 1.6 million down in turnover. They expect to lose somewhere in the region of 5 million as they go into the next part of the year, because quite simply no fans are coming through the door.
No, it's horrendous news. We need a bailout of some sort. We hear about the English clubs, in the EFL champing for it. But, there is some money in the EFL, but in Scotland, listen, some clubs have got money, but to lose £5 million in 1 year is phenomenal. And I worry for Dundee United's accounts that are just around the corner, waiting to see what comes out from them. Obviously they're in the process now about taking wage cuts. But it's worrying times for the Scottish clubs, and we just hope that we can get through it, and like you say, we can get supporters in, sooner rather than later.
And with Aberdeen releasing their financial situation, we know the situation with Celtic, Tam, because those finances have been revealed as well. I'm waiting on Rangers because the big clubs have suffered pain. Rangers have obviously got a share issue out where they hope to raise 4 million, but they've invested in the club. They'll be looking in last year at this exact time, Tam, they announced £11.3 million losses and said they needed £10 million to get them to the end of the season. So, it's going to be painful for them and others.
Yeah, listen, I think Rangers will be really struggling at the minute, to be honest. I know they're going well on the pitch, but as you said, they were needing a lot of money last season. COVID struck. I think they're obviously spending a lot more in wages and money in wages and transfer fees. So I think Rangers will be really feeling the pinch. I think they're going all in this season to try and stop Celtic, which is what their fans will demand. But remains to be seen what the pain will be after that in terms of finance if they do topple Celtic and stop 10 in a row. So, like every club in Scotland, they will be feeling the pinch and be losing a lot of money. So, I think it's important that for everyone that we get supporters back in the stadiums as quick as possible and start getting some revenue in through the gates.
Yeah,
it's
because
interesting. Sorry, Peter. The Rangers one's interesting because of, they've seen that new development that they're building at Edmonton Drive. They've knocked down all that and they're looking to rebuild something there. That's going to cost a few million as well. So is that into their accounts, or will that come in next year? So it's somebody's funding that. Listen, I think a lot of the clubs, Celtic have been in Europe for a number of years now, and I think they'll be okay to get through this pandemic. But when Rangers accounts and Dundee United accounts come out, it'll be a worrying time for these clubs.
Yeah, Roughie, there's no doubt about it in my mind. This is if last year was throwing the kitchen sink at it and they came up short, this year they're throwing the kitchen sink, the oven, the microwave. They're throwing every bit of furniture they've got at it. The roll of the dice is quite simply stop 10, gamble in getting the money that'll get them into the Champions League. It's so abundantly clear.
Yeah, and it's been like that since the start of the season. I think Steven Gerrard's been on record thanking the board on numerous occasions for backing him. We don't know who is putting up what, but at the end of the day, nobody's going to bother as long as they keep winning, and as long as they're up the top of that league, and as long as if they win the league, I don't think.
Okay, I got the gist of what Roughie was just saying there. Let's have a look at the Scottish Premiership fixtures for the weekend, because as well as those two games, which Hibs against Celtic and Rangers Aberdeen on the Sunday, there are some other really good games to look at. Charlie mentioned Dundee United and their accounts. They're taking on Hamilton. We'll talk about the Accies in a moment, as well as Kilmarnock, Ross County, Livingston, St Mirren and St Johnstone against Mother. Will give us your views. How do you think your team's going to fare this weekend? Obviously, lockdown kicks in for the majority of us. Quite a lot of people will not in any way be thinking about getting into a ground anytime soon. So it's back to the same old watching club TV and hoping that on Hibs TV, Tam comes up with something controversial to say, which gets everybody excited ahead of the game. We'll find out about that shortly. But Killie against Ross County. Killie 6th in the table. They're 3 points behind Dundee United. I like watching them, Tam. I think there's something about them under Alec Dyer. They're a good footballing team as well.
Yeah, I like Kilmarnock. I think they're doing well this season. I think Alec Dyer's, I really enjoy listening to him. I think he's a breath of fresh air in terms of the way he speaks. He's very honest, and I can see why the players would like to play under Alex. He's doing a good job there. They're obviously just inside the top six, and I think they'll win the game tomorrow. I've got Kilmarnock 2, Ross County 1. I think Killie are strong at home on the Astro, and I think they'll get 3 points.
Yeah, I'm going for Killie 1, Ross County 0, even though Killie Roughie are on a 3-game losing streak.
Yeah, I have no hesitation to say Kilmarnock will win tomorrow. It's a stick
See what
on,
I did there,
you know,
Tam?
just...
See what I did? I tried to guide him into a Ross County.
Has he ever tipped Ross County to win?
No.
On a slide.
And by the way, next week I'm getting Roy McGregor on. This is a disgrace.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm just what's the word? I remember things that happen. Put it that way.
Yeah, you hold grudges. Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
Maybe that's the word I was looking for. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But no,
what are you going for then?
I'm going to go Kilmarnock 2-1.
2-1. Okay. And Charlie, what are you going for?
Kilmarnock will win 2-0.
2-0. Of course, Alec Dyer himself is well aware that not only this game is important for Killie, but the next couple of months vital for their own ambitions.
They got the 90 minutes, and I was well happy what I saw. And hopefully now we can look forward to, like you said, a big period. You know, the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks are going to be a big period, not just the Christmas period. You know, even into January, there's a lot of games. So it's a big period for every football club.
Yeah, Dundee United against Hamilton. Charlie, you were talking about Dundee United's accounts. The great thing about accounts, nobody seems to give two hoots about them if your team are winning. And I'm looking at Dundee United, unbeaten in their last 4 league games, currently sitting 5th in the table, and they're up against a team that quite simply are shipping goals for fun. I mean, Hamilton Accies, as I look at them, 8-0 loss to Rangers, knocked out of the cup with Stranraer. You couldn't buy a win for them. They're under real pressure.
Yeah, they are under pressure, and you know every season we tip them to get relegated. You know, but they seem to get over the line at the right times. I just think this will be a Dundee United win. I think if they, you know, I see Mickey's talk about Shanklin travelling everywhere, and if they can get him on the pitch again with McNulty up there, they'll score goals together as a partnership. So I think United will win this 2-0.
Tam, have you been impressed with Shanklin? Is he maybe getting, injuries apart, is he struggling to really try and take it on to the next level? We're all wondering if he was going to score a barrel load of goals in this league. Do you think he's up to it?
Yeah, I think he is up to it, but I just think that Dundee United are very cagey at the minute. You know, I think they've had 4-0-0s in the last 5 games. I think Mickey Mellon's obviously trying to build from the back, build a solid base, get the defence right. I think he's got defence right. You know, good shape about them, don't lose many goals, but I think they've got to be more positive going forward. You know, they've got to commit more players forward. You know, they've got to have more attempts at goal, more crosses in the box. You know, they've got to give these guys service, and I thought Shanklin would have scored 15, 20 goals this season. At the minute, it doesn't look like it. I think Dundee United need to sort their attack out. I think, as Charlie said, they've got good options up front. They've got to get service into them. But I think they'll be too strong for Hamilton. You know, Hamilton in free fall. I've got Dundee United 3-1.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 for Dundee United. Charlie?
Yeah, I think Hamilton will lose the game. I'll go for United to win 2-0. But going back, sorry, just to add on to that Dundee United thing about Shanklin, I've watched him 2 or 3 times now, and there's a difference between him and Nisbet, that the supply that Nisbet gets from, Boyle and other lads on the opposite side to what Shanklin's getting. Shanklin's best work now is outside the box, and he's a number 9. He wants to go and score goals, so it is difficult to get into that position. So United have to try and get the strengths of Shanklin, that's in the box, and Hibs do that really well, and that's why Nisbet's getting all the goals. So I'm hoping that Shanklin can start scoring a few goals and then put pressure on the other lads in the Scotland squad, because Nisbet, like I said to Tam all day, he's coming just behind them, pushing to get into that squad.
Yeah, what are you going for in the score? 2-0?
2-0 United.
Yeah, Roughie?
Yeah, I think Charlie's right there. I think Mellon has come on board saying they were getting too many tankings. They were losing too many goals early on. So I think he's concentrated on the defensive side of Dundee United, and it's proved with the results that they're having, not losing that many goals, and maybe the strikers are just suffering a wee bit because that's what he's basing the whole team on. But I think against Hamilton, he's got to unleash. There's not going to be no negativity at all. He's got to go for it. And obviously with Hamilton losing goals so easy, I think Dundee United will win 2-0.
Well, Dundee United boss Mickey Mellon is talking about respect for the Ackies.
Hamilton have done fantastically well and better than Dundee United over the last 4 years because they've been in the Premiership for the last 4 years. We haven't. So they're a club that has fought and will continue to fight, and that's what they've been very, very good at over the course of certainly since I've seen them in the Scottish Premiership.
They were calling for his head after the last defeat, Tam. Do you think the axe will fall if Ackies lose to United?
Yeah, I think, listen, I really like Chipper, Brian Rice. I really like him as a coach and a person, but I really think he's under serious pressure now. It's not just the league games, it's losing in the cup. Annan, humiliated down at Annan, beaten down at Stranraer as well. So I think as long as they're still in touch, Peter, as long as they're not detached at the bottom, I think the directors at Hamilton, the board, will give them the benefit of the doubt. But if they go 3, 4, 5 points adrift at the bottom, then I think the axe will fall. So I hope Chipper can get Hamilton out of it, because I've got a lot of respect for him and I like him, but I don't think their squad's good enough.
Yeah, Michael Climby says, I can't believe Tam's predicted Dundee United to score 3 goals, dearie me. And Kevin Gunn says,
2 months.
Well, exactly. And funnily enough, just before we come on air, we were talking about how many people actually, and we're talking mainly about ourselves, how many people actually have a drink and get drunk in the house. And that brings me nicely to Kevin Gunn, who says 5-0 Hamilton. Remember, there's a time when you should start drinking, and it's certainly not 4:30 on a Friday. Yeah, exactly. 5-0 to Hamilton. I think Kevin's had the entire bottle and not told the wife. Anyway, St Johnstone against Motherwell. This one is a strange one. St Johnstone unbeaten in their last 3 games. Motherwell 3 wins and 2 defeats. And I've seen Motherwell, and I just thought I tipped him. I hold my hands up, Roughie. I tipped him to finish 3rd in the table this season because I just thought he'd bought well, and I thought they'd be the right blend. Sometimes I look at them and I think they should be up the top. They should be in that top 4, but sometimes you just don't know what happens with them.
You're right. It's consistency. When they were 3rd in the league for a long part of the season, it was consistency was there. But nowadays it isn't. They've had really, really good games, but had some awful ones as well. I can't split the two of them. I'm going to go 1 each in this game.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. I'm going to go 1-0 Motherwell, an away win, 1-0. Tony Watt to go back and haunt St Johnstone, Tam.
I think it'll be a tight game. Listen, I think both teams are in reasonable form. I think St Johnstone, obviously at home, are a good side and hard to break down. But as you said, I think Motherwell have just got a little bit extra quality. Likes of Tony and Alan Campbell and different guys. So I think that Motherwell are going to edge it. I've got 2-1 to Motherwell.
Charlie?
I fancy Motherwell to win this. Both teams are in decent form. Like I said with you, I was looking forward to watching Motherwell a lot more this year, and they never started well, but I'll go 2-1 Motherwell.
Yeah, one team that certainly I think some people thought was going to definitely have an easier time than they're having at the moment. Livingston, 3 defeats in the last 5 games. They're up against St Mirren. This one's at your bottom end of the table. This one, I think this has got all the makings of a 1-1 draw, Tam. St Mirren's second bottom of the table, 8 points from 11 league games this season. I'm going for a draw. I can't split them.
Listen, I feel sorry for St Mirren. Obviously, they've not had a lot of football due to COVID reasons. I think Livingston will be a wee bit sharper. So, especially at the spaghetti had, well, Livingston have got a great record. I'm going to go 2-0 to Livingston.
Well, there you are. Tam's backing them all the way. Charlie, are you as enthusiastic about Livy?
No, I'm going to go boring 0-0 draw.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from on that, Charlie. I was just being optimistic with two goals being scored. I don't know where they're coming from. Look at while we're all chatting. This is Roughie, by the way. This is Roughie writing it all down just in case anybody gets extra points. Hey,
it's getting tense.
I know, but you're unbelievable. You're actually like a wee kid who plays games.
Pierre, what did you go? 1 each?
1 each. Yeah. What about yourself, Roughie?
I don't think St Mirren have got 2 goals in them. I think Livingston at home possibly could. So I'm going to go Livingston 2-1.
Yeah. I like Niall's attitude to this. He says Livingston St Mirren entertaining 0-0 draw. It's been a while. It's been a while, Niall, since I've seen an entertaining 0-0 draw. To be perfectly honest with you, here's how the table looks in the Scottish Premiership for the weekend's football. I don't know about you, but absolutely love the thought of getting back to the domestic football as well. It gets you excited, gets you a chance to see how everybody's performing. It seems it's unbelievable.
It's been a long 2 weeks, isn't it?
I think this is the best time of the season now, where you've got no internationals now till March. Everybody can concentrate on playing for their clubs, and this is where the season starts to take, shape really. And it's this is the best part for me.
Yeah, and if you're going to learn lessons, Tam, it's don't go to Dubai.
Yeah, I don't think Rangers will be going to Dubai anyway, will they?
Rangers will be straight on that flight to Dubai after the Celtic game.
Yeah.
Nothing will change.
Yeah.
Nothing will
change.
Think
so, Charlie? You think so?
I don't see it's because they went to Dubai for a week. They get a week off international break. The players, it doesn't affect them. I don't think it going away and the sun's made a difference. I just think it's they've just not come back at it. I don't think they train well over in Dubai. So what is the difference between training well in Dubai or training at Murray Park or the Hummel Training Centre? I don't think they'll change that.
Have you ever, when you were playing, Charlie, been involved in a situation where you were absolutely flying at one point in the season? I'm not necessarily talking about Rangers, just anywhere. Flying in the first half of the season, then you have a little break, come back, then collapse?
No, because when I was at Stoke, we used to go to Dubai every February. Obviously, the FA Cup, we got knocked out of the FA Cup. So we used to go to Dubai for 5 days. For 3 or 4 years, we went every year under Mark Hughes, and we'd come back after that and we'd just kick on, and we end up like 9th in the league. We felt a benefit for that. But the 1 year, we went in February, we come back and we got absolutely battered from Tottenham 5 or 6-0. And that was the season we got relegated. No, we never got relegated, but we got beat 6-0 or 5 or 6-0 from Tottenham. And he said, you'll never ever go back again. But every year that we went, we always seem to do well when we come back, and I just think it's, it's.
Did you train hard over there, Charlie, or did you?
So we used to fly.
Golf, or was it?
No. Well, we used to train. So we'd have when we landed in, like, say at night, we'd have the next day off, and we'd have a beer and enjoy ourselves, have food, whatever we wanted. But the manager always said you have to be in for. So we'd train the day after that. We'd train every morning. And we could play golf every afternoon if you want, as long as you're back in the hotel for 7 o'clock for dinner. You're allowed to, everybody had to be at dinner. There was no going and doing your own thing in the restaurant. We had to eat at dinner, and then, if the lads wanted to go, and do whatever they wanted to do in Dubai at night, they just had to make sure they were ready for training the next day, and it worked for us, and the lads loved it. So I don't think that, come the Celtic game at the end, I don't think it will change Rangers going to Dubai. I think they will probably still go and get a week's training in good weather if they can fly.
Yeah, well, they won't fly. There's no winter break this season anyway. But I was just being flippant on the basis of don't go to Dubai. Although, Roughie, I don't know about you, but Charlie mentioned something there that really caught my attention when he said, you go there, you make sure you're back in for the dinner, you have dinner, and then you go out as long as you're available for training the next day. I just wonder. I was just wondering about Jackie McNamara, Tony Higgins, yourself, a few others in that Hibs squad. I just wonder, would you have made it back for breakfast in the morning?
No. I think the most important thing is, as Charlie said, if you're told to be there at 7:30, you are there at 7:30. You've got to make sure the ladder's out your window. For later on. You've got to prepare. If you're going to sneak out, you don't get caught.
Roughie,
ladder in Dubai.
I was just about to say, Tom,
I don't know if you remember. I don't know. We're up, and in fact, I think we're up at Ross County in a pre-season tour, and they put us in a dingy wee hotel. And I don't know if you remember Tommy Craig's brother, John Craig. I was sharing a room with John Craig, and there were just two beds in the room, two single beds, and the side of his bed was a big wardrobe. And I obviously sneaked out at night, and I had to go up a couple of flights to get back in, and hear the wee sod put the wardrobe in front of the window, and I couldn't get in. So I had to sort of push it. So I pushed the wardrobe, and he was sleeping, and the wardrobe fell on top of him. He never played any games in that trip after it. He had to get in the morning and say he was injured.
Brilliant. Charlie, I was just wondering, this is Roughie telling you his fantastic tales, but I just wonder, Charlie, are you because of, just the way the modern footballer changed, were you one of those dullards who just used to sit there and that were you straight to bed and that was it, and then a wee bit of celery and then just straight to bed? Yeah.
What do you think, Peter?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why.
That's why I signed them.
No, we enjoyed it as a team. We enjoyed it. We had a few beers and we played golf together. We had a few beers playing golf, but we trained hard. You know what I mean? It wasn't as if we weren't training. It was good time, good group of lads, and I didn't sit there eating celery and shakes and that. No.
Brilliant. Listen, here's a table. Here's a look at where your team is in the Premiership at the moment. Rangers out there with that 9-point advantage. Celtic with 2 games in hand. Aberdeen, big game for Aberdeen and Hibs this weekend. And really, is there a shock on the cards? Give us your thoughts on that. What do you think is going to happen? Bottom end, Accies, this could be a tough one for them if they don't get the win they're looking for, at least a point. They want to make sure they're staying in touch. Look at St Mirren with all those games in hand. Dunfermline Hearts tonight, guys. I didn't get a chance to see the second episode of Inside Hearts. Did anybody watch it? Was it any good?
Yeah. I watched
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it good?
Yep, it was good. Yeah, it was good. It was just showing Daniel Stendel. He was a bit of a crackpot, to be honest. It was showing you him, obviously bringing his players in, and I think it just ended when COVID was about to strike. So I think obviously the next episode will be how they dealt with COVID and stuff like that. So
yeah,
Robbie.
Had Daniel been bulleted before the end of that programme?
No. But I think it's coming. Yep.
Okay. Now, Dunfermline against Hearts. This is a cracker, Charlie, tonight. I'm definitely going to watch this one. If there's a championship game that you think, this is one that I'd like.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna sit and watch it as well. I think this is an opportunity for both teams. Obviously, Hearts are a game behind everybody else, but started the season really well. Dunfermline have done, were they obviously a team to look out for. New investment, started the season well. So it should be a good game to watch. I'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Hearts to win it 2-1. Tam, what about yourself?
Well, I'm obviously very friendly with Stevie Crawford. I speak to him all the time, and Dunfermline is one of my ex clubs. So I would love to see Dunfermline winning tonight, and I think they will. I think Dunfermline will win 2-1.
Yeah, Dunfermline to win 2-1. Just a totally impartial view there from Tam McManus, whose friend is Stevie Crawford. Roughie?
Well, they were the three. They were my 1, 2, 3 at the beginning of the season. Hearts, Dundee, and Dunfermline. I was surprised at some of the signings that Dunfermline made. Very good signings, and it's proved to be the case with the form they've been on. I don't think test is the right word for Hearts, but if Hearts were to go into this one and win it convincingly, obviously beating Dundee, I think the place would be on a high. You know, I don't go along with, was it Darren that said he doesn't think they'd get beat for the whole season? I don't think that's the case. I think they will drop points, but this is a wee eye opener, you know, to see where Hearts actually are just now, and I think they'll win 2-0.
Okay, Charlie, what's your prediction?
I think this is a tough test for Hearts away from home at Dunfermline. I'll go for a 1-1 draw.
Oh, drawing that one. Now, listen, if there's ever an incentive between now and March and beyond, players, I wonder what form they're going to come back into over the festive period, because despite the fact there is lockdown kicking into level 4 in a number of areas, players will be out there thinking, can I catch the attention of Steve Clarke and the Scotland squad getting ready for the Euros? It'll be interesting to see if there's one or two players who emerge who just tip a wink towards the Scotland manager to say, hey, think about me. I'd really love us to get maybe one or two. I mean, I was speaking to Neil Sinclair, who posted a message to me saying Shanklin, you know, should be one of those guys. If Shanklin really wants to post a message to Steve Clarke, Tam, I think he's got to start firing goals between now and March.
Yep, absolutely. He's got to score goals. He's not scored for a few weeks. He's got a perfect opportunity. No disrespect to Hamilton tomorrow, who are leaking goals left, right and centre. You know, if you're a striker and you're coming up against a side at the bottom who's leaking goals, you're thinking to yourself, right, this is the day I can go and get myself a few goals. And I think that it's a great opportunity for him to go and get a few goals tomorrow against Hamilton. But it's the same with Kevin Nisbet. You know, I think there's opportunities for plenty of strikers in there if they're scoring goals between now and the next international to force their way in. So it's down to the players.
Yep. Looking forward to seeing how they're all going to play on this one. A couple of points that I want to get your thoughts on, guys. Interestingly enough, on this one, Roughie, Stephen Kenny seems to be fighting for his job, but this is a strange one. The FAI are launching a probe into an anti-English political video, which was shown to the players, and somehow it got out there. Some players maybe took offence to it. The FAI are looking into it as a matter of urgency. I think it was meant to be some kind of stimulant ahead of the game against England, but reports claim players were shocked at the content.
Yeah. Well, obviously we're not privy to being in that dressing room and what the video has actually said, but in this day and age, if it is something offensive, then you'll have to answer it. But I think he's got more to worry than that. If you listen to Roy Keane the other night talking about the form that they're in and the selection and everything that's going ahead. So I think he needs to worry more about winning games to keep himself in a job than this video.
Yeah, absolutely. Managers use some strange tactics, Tam, to try and get the best out in people. But, you know, I just wonder in the snowflake generation, I don't know the content of this, but I just wonder if you can shout at players anymore. Can you come up with new ways to try and get the best out of them?
Peter, I think it's poor that that's leaked out from the fans we were speaking about before from the players. I think it's shocking. You know, you watch a video within a dressing room. We don't know the content of the video, whatever it is, but to go and run to the press about a video that you've watched, I think is bang out of order. It's really it's horrendous. It's a real lack of trust within the squad. So as Roughie said, Stephen's got off to a poor start. He needs to start winning games of football, but I just don't agree with the running to the press about a video. I think it's nonsense, and he needs to find out who it was that done it, because somebody's trying to do him in from inside that squad. So he needs to find out who it is.
Can I ask you, even if the video is in poor taste, Tam?
Yeah, Peter, listen, we don't know what the video is, right? We've not seen the video, and if it's something that's in poor taste, or it's something that shouldn't be there, then of course. But why would you run to the press and go to them? Why would you not go to the manager and say, listen, I didn't agree with that video, or whatever? Listen, they get humped anyway, so it didn't work.
Yeah.
And you're talking about videos. I don't know if Charlie's ever watched videos. I've watched 2 before a game in my career. And both of them were any given Sunday. You know the speech with Al Pacino?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Tony Mowbray came in at Hibs, and the first league game of the season, we played Kilmarnock at home. And Big Mogga put that video on, and we were all pumped to go out, and we get beat 1-0. Another time was a semi-final for Dundee, Charlie. Dundee against Gretna at Hampden. Gretna were obviously ploughing through the leagues and ploughing the money into them. We played them at Hampden. Yeah. Alan Kernahan put that on before the game at Hampden, and we get battered 3-0. So I don't think these motivational videos work, to be honest.
Yeah, the best one we had was a wee Willie Ormond down in Largs. We were all sitting after tea, and he said, right, everybody's going to the pictures. We all thought it was a motivational film it was in. I don't think the wee man read right the film it was on. It was Eskimo Nell. And if anybody's seen Eskimo Nell, it's not a motivational film.
Right, okay. I mean, honestly, sometimes things can work, Charlie, but I always look to it, it's like it's like that classic joke when the little boy goes to the boxing with his dad and the boxer crosses himself and the wee boy says to his dad, what's he doing, there? Why is he crossing himself? Will that help him? And he says, it'll not help him if he can't fight. I mean, it's as simple as that, isn't it? If you can't play football, all the motivational things in the world, you can pray, you can do what you want, but if you can't play football, you can't win matches.
Yeah.
No, I think the thing with Tam. Sorry, on you go,
Roughie. Charlie. No, on you go.
I just said, like, we had. I've had a few times over my career. I've had a few times getting videos and things like that. We had one with Ian Holloway. Finished training one day, and this was like 12:30, and he said, right up to we were training at a rugby club, so he said up to the room where we did a video analysis, and he put on a DVD of a little guy about basketball, so I can't remember what the film was, and we sat there for 2 hours, and he put the lights on. He's streaming with tears and all that, like, this is what it means to get promoted and things like that, and it was unbelievable. And Paul Lambert put one on when he came in at Stoke, and it was unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? But I think the videos are good. I like if it's about the lads and what they do, if it's scoring goals or motivational things. I understand that, but like Tam says, the trust in the camp for somebody to go and do that to the manager. Okay, the content might be wrong in what it was, but for his own staff and players to stitch him up. If you were any man, a group of players would pull the manager and say, "Listen, you were out of order, and what that video meant for us as a group of players, it's wrong." But you don't have to go and snitch to go and get it sorted like that in the press, and I think that's a huge learning curve for Stephen Kenny.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think McManus needs to remember the trust, because the trust between me and Peter, with some of the videos you send us, just remember.
Yeah. Yes, you remember. Yeah. And by the way, can I just say at this point, Tam, you're certainly motivating us. It's as simple as that.
There you go.
We're right behind you, Tam.
Mrs. McManus has just stood there like that. So what video is that then, Tom?
Oh, he's dobbed it now, Charlie. Brilliant. That's exactly it, and that's his nickname from now on, the Rat. Anyway, if we're talking about Dunfermline against Hearts, hopefully you'll enjoy football this weekend if you can get to watch it across all sorts of media. Then good luck with that. I certainly think there's a few games at the weekend, Charlie, that I'm looking forward to as far as the English football is concerned, because Tottenham against Man City's magic. Pep Guardiola signed a 2-year deal. Guardiola says he wants Messi to stay at Barcelona, but there's big speculation with him signing a 2-year deal that City will go back in and try and get him again in January.
Yeah, I think that's the rumour that's going to happen. I think that'll be what Pep will be saying, that I think I can get Messi in the January window, and we'll be signing him on a 2.5-year deal, and it'd be massive for English football. And like I said the other day, I still believe that there's a chance that Cristiano might come back to Man United. and see where it goes. But it'd be phenomenal for Man City. I think it's phenomenal for Man City that the Guardiola's actually going to stay there for another 2.5 years. Takes them to 7 years, but if they can get Messi over the line, wow, what a signing it'd be.
Oh, and if Ronaldo went back, that would be awesome, Charlie. Certainly be well worth watching. As far as the fixtures are concerned, here they are across the weekend for English football. Tottenham, Man City certainly will catch my eye. Leeds United against Arsenal on the Sunday, magnificent, as well as one that I'll be absolutely glued to. Liverpool against Leicester City is the cracker, and I'm going for Liverpool to edge this, just basically on the basis that they might actually be feeling better about themselves, Tam, because Virgil van Dijk has started some light training.
Yeah, and Charlie mentioned it during the week there, Liverpool are really struggling at the back for defenders. So I think Leicester will go there confident they can go and get a result under wee Brendan. I think we mentioned him 5 minutes ago. So listen, I think he can go there and get a result.
Yeah, you going for Leicester to win?
Yeah, I think Leicester will win 2-1.
Wow, interesting stuff. Brendan will be there, managing one of the clubs that he supported as a boy, and the other one that he used to manage. Roughie, what do you think? What do you think, Roughie?
I can just imagine Leicester scoring that winning goal, and he's kissing the badge, the Leicester badge. But I don't think that will happen. I think Liverpool will win this one.
To be perfectly honest with you, Charlie, I have to hold my hand in my heart. I like Brendan. I think he's a good lad. I think he's a top coach. A few Celtic fans certainly can't forgive him for what he did, but I don't think they can deny he is a top coach.
Listen, you can't deny what he done for Celtic. He took them to the next level. Some of the players were played in a pedestal that they've never played in before. Phenomenal. Okay, the European campaigns were not great, but his record was incredible at Celtic. But yeah, he's a top coach, top manager. But I still believe that Liverpool got enough quality to win this game. Salah missing is a big blow as well. But Jota will come in there, and Firmino and Mane, if he's available, will be up there. But I still believe Liverpool win this 2-1. Yep,
2-1. Okay, Charlie, you're in the kit. You're all kitted out there. You've got Ayr United tomorrow. Are you fit, available and ready?
Yeah, no, I'm stuck in this training kit. I've just come back for training. So, yeah, tough game. I said to the lads today after training, obviously, that this is next five league games are massive for us if we want to achieve anything this season. Ayr United, Arbroath, Inverness, Dunfermline. Huge games for us, and if we want to do anything this season, we need to start winning football matches and getting a run of games and run a win. So starting tomorrow will be a good test for us, but we're confident we can go there and win.
Yeah, Tam's big friends with the chairman of Ayr United, so he certainly will be tipping you to get pumped. It's as simple as that.
Big Lachlan.
Yeah, exactly. Big Lachlan.
Another two clubs that get relegated with.
Well, I was just about to say to you, Tam, it seems like only yesterday we were talking to Big Lachlan as we were just into lockdown, and now suddenly we are in the tightest of restrictions you could possibly think of again. Listen, if you enjoy your football, don't forget to like, share and follow us across our Facebook page. We really are delighted that you've joined the football family. Thank you for that. And on the YouTube, you can subscribe to our channel. We've got a big giveaway coming up in December. Certainly a prize that I think more than a few of you would love to get your hands on before Christmas. That's just some of the things that we will be highlighting coming up on PLZ Soccer. The minute I say goodbye, Tam will be out of that room, back into his wife's arms, knowing that he's going to get a lovely dinner because he's henpecked.
Oh, I might not give a dinner now.
Well, absolutely. What you're getting is John Craig's cupboard thrown onto your head. It's as simple as that. Anyway, Charlie, good luck tomorrow in the game. From Roughie, from Tam, from Charlie and myself, Peter Martin. Thanks for watching.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.